Hey guys, and I'm Makote here again with this previous week's comic book polls. This past week was the second week in December, very heavy DC week for me personally. A lot of great books came out last week, even more great books are supposed to come out this coming week. So December's off to a strong start with comic books this year to close out the year end. But anyways, without further ado, we got big old stack of comics, and we're going to review them. Alright, first up is going to be Undiscovered Country book number 2. We are still very much world building in this series with this book. Not much has happened, but we do get some explanations, and there's a bit of a plot twist near the end. We learn more about what happened to the United States, how there's this spiral of hell all going into the center of the country. This I felt was a good book. I felt that it did a good job further building the world that this story is taking place in. I was quite happy with it, and we get a little bit of backstory on some of the characters. Hopefully as the series moves on, we get to learn more about why it's like this, and then get into some action. Always good to do your exposition first, then your action, because if you jump right into the action, you might lose your readers. Good read. Next up, we have book number 3 in 7 days. I think this is book 3. Yeah, this is book 3, 7 Days by Gail Simone. Here we see the end results of the reporter interviewing our big bad for this series, and the fact that the 3 kids were able to take out a couple of the Obsidian men. 7 Days the context of the story is basically these Obsidian men have come to Earth to destroy it again and remove the threat that is the human world. I felt Gail Simone did pretty good writing this book. Some backstory, some character revelations, and some answers from our villain in here. Don't want to spoil it, I'm just doing non-spoiler reviews, but so far I'm liking this series. A lot better than book 2. Looking forward to book 4 in January. Next up is X-Force, number 3. Again, we are building the world post Savior death and resurrection. And also Domino is freed in this book, and we learn a little bit about what they are trying to accomplish, what they're trying to do. And some of the things are kind of freaky. Almost like a risk of jealousy or something like that. But I'm really liking X-Force. It's definitely the strongest out of the Dawn of X books that I have read. But it's not necessarily my favorite. It's strong but not a favorite of mine. But I do love reading it. I enjoy it. Really looking forward to where this story goes. Next up we have Fallen Angels, book number 3. A lot of people who have reviewed this book love and hate Fallen Angels. I am one of the ones that actually enjoys Fallen Angels. This is my favorite Dawn of X title. It may not be the strongest or the best out of them, but I personally really like this. Psylocke, we learn about Psylocke being like the mother to Apoc, and Apoc being God. And basically some of Apoc's followers trying to convert this team to believe in something else. Really liking the world that's being developed, really liking the characters' development. Hopefully start getting some action. Really good read. Looking forward to book number 4 in January. Really enjoy it. Okay. Next up we have Arrow, and this is the 6th in an Arrow story, and the conclusion to Wave and Arrow's origin story, which is second story in this book. There's actually two stories in this book. There's Arrow, the main story, and then there's Wave and Arrow near the end of the book, where we learn about when Greg packs upcoming titles for next year, which is Atlantis Attacks. Looks to be very interesting. It was great to see Alan Tech try to get the powers from Wave and preventing their first experiment and Arrow from freeing her. But this was a good read. With the Arrow story, we learn about her internal struggles of leading the double life of Arrow and Lin Lee. And the Crystal Towers are back again, so this is definitely leading up to a big fight soon. So really looking forward to what number 7 is going to bring next month. Good read. Next we have the first of many black labels for DC this month, and that is Curse of the White Knight, book number 5. And this is a Batgirl variant cover. Batgirl is one of my favorite characters in the entire Batman universe. And basically, this book is going over like the aftermath of Jim Gordon's death. Bruce Wayne's trying to figure out the past of the Wayne family. And they're just struggling to move on from Jim Gordon's death in this universe. And I actually really enjoy this universe. I love this universe. I personally think this is the best Batman universe to date. And then you got Azrael trying to doing his thing. But if I begin to explain exactly what he's up to, that would be a spoiler. But good read. Can't wait to see where this book goes. Hopefully the next one comes out next month, but I do very much enjoy this story and this cover. Right, next we have a one-shot from the Frank Miller Batman universe. This one's called Dark Knight Returns Golden Child. This is just a DC Black Label book. It's a one-shot in the Dark Knight Returns universe. You have the daughter of Bruce Wayne working with the daughter of Superman in this universe, and it's really a dark side story. Didn't really feel like it connected anything from there, but I just enjoyed it. The artwork isn't necessarily my favorite. The story wasn't necessarily the greatest. It kind of felt all over the place, but eventually it did get to the overall what was going on, and then concluded, which is what these one-shots do. But this was an alright read. I'm not sure if I would pick up another one, to be honest. I like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, but there are many other, I hate to say it, but better Batman stories out there now. So, alright read. Next we have book 4 in the Adventures of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and here they are working on separating from each other, trying to find a place to hold up for a little while, and they're trying to still get away from the Flora Man, or Forest Man as he's called in here, but instead they come into where he's enslaved a couple of people in an amusement park. I like this adventure because it's pretty lighthearted. It's being out of the Heroes in Crisis story, but I've been enjoying it and looking forward to what book 5 does, and then this concludes in book 6. But I really enjoyed this read. Pretty nice. Right. Next up we have Batman Detective Comics number 1017. This was a fairly good read. Basically, a kid goes missing from the orphanage, and Batman has to go find him. And they do. And Batman kind of comes to terms with Damian's needs and wants. And Damian tries to be the best son he can to Bruce after the events take place in this book. This is actually a very sad book, but it has a very nice plot twist in it. But it's still a pretty sad book of what happens in it. But I've been enjoying this. I think Taylor has written a solid story, and when we get back to the Year of the Villain line, I look forward to what else Taylor has to write. And there might be a second one after this. I'm not sure. I'll have to look, but really liked it. Good artwork, good everything, good story, good pacing, and yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. Next up, we have the Batman's Grave. Here we have Batman trying to investigate the murder from the previous book, and he is at this guy's mansion. Gets attacked by this guy right here, which I forget his name, and he's just trying to figure out a few things in this story. And this mystery, there's a really long fight sequence in the middle of this book. The story, I feel, is definitely going somewhere. I don't know exactly where that's going yet, but it definitely has that detective feel to it, which is really what Batman's Grave is it's not really like the Tom King Batman run that's concluding, or the Batman Detectives comics run. This is a nice little side story, and I've been enjoying it, and I'm really looking forward to what else happens, trying to figure out exactly what's going on in this series, but I'm satisfied with it. Alright, next up we have Far Sector, book number 2, off the Green Lantern Corps. This was a really good read. I personally enjoyed it. It is a runner-up for the week. You can maybe tell on the camera what my pick of the week is. Don't worry. I'll explain why in a minute. And basically, we go over, we learn the history of this race that likes to eat people and eat themselves because they're hungry. And we're also trying to figure out why they murdered people. And I've just been really enjoying it, getting this nice little history in Far Sector, getting this world being built. I am so happy that my LCS recommended this to me. I'm really looking forward to where this goes in the future. Good read. Right. And next for my pick of the week. My pick of the week is going to be Ruby Volume 3. So why is an anime / comic book series pick of the week? Well, let me explain. White Schnee, which you see on the front of this variant cover, we see how her character developed throughout the anime in stories that were not fully explained in Ruby Volume 1 and Volume 2 and Volume 3. This was a good reason for it being my pick of the week is just the background of White Schnee, how she felt that she was above the world, above everyone else, but also why she wanted to come to Beacon Academy to train to become a huntress. And her explanation is really good. There's also a story in here that further goes through Ruby's backstory, so we learn a little bit about her struggles post losing her original team of herself, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. I really like the read of this book. I really like the pacing of this comic series. It's an excellent add-on to Rooster Teeth's Ruby that's currently going on right now. Really appreciate that DC is continuing this short series, but I've been enjoying it, so that's why that's my pick of the week. It's the fact that we learn more about some of the characters who I didn't care for because I thought they were a little snobbish in the anime, but seeing their internal struggle being revealed in this book really made it count for something. So good read. If you're into Ruby, if you have an LCS next to you, ask them to order you this series. It's really good, and I think it helps with the overall world of Remnant and the story of Ruby. Good read. Beyond that, guys, really heavy DC week. I read more DC comics than Marvel because I like the dark and gritty universes that DC Comics writes. And next week, I think there's a lot of Black Labels coming out. I think Harley #3 comes out. I think Criminal Minds 2 comes out. And I think Joker Harley #2 comes out all next week. So next week's going to be a big book week with thicker books, like 60-page prestige edition books. Really enjoyed it. But thank you all for watching. If you like this video, tell me what you picked up this week in the comments below. If you like the video, give it a like. If you like the content that you're seeing, feel free to subscribe. And if you want to be one of those people that likes to be first on every video, hit the notification bell up there in the upper right hand corner of your screen, and you'll know when my videos go live first thing. But thank you guys for watching, and y'all have a good week. And if you celebrate Christmas, we're 1 week away. And happy holidays. Bye guys. Have a good night.